Is he on? Is he on? What's going on here? Not me.
Strategy alert.
I don't think I have John at the moment. Okay.
All right, good. Oh, I see everything clear. All right. Take it over.
All right. So, what you see on the screen is what you would see in the GasBot screen if you were a subscriber through your regular day trading radio membership. It is an add-on service. And I'm going to orient you to it in a moment, but I want to show you how to get to there if you were to be a member. And it's actually something I like quite a bit. I'm going to take this Procaster screen over to a Chrome browser. So down here, it's going to be double sound here. Let me mute that. You can navigate to here and then save that, bookmark that tab, and that takes you to this screen here, which has 3 different launch buttons. The first one launches a side-by-side video and chat, and that was the first rollout. It's a little awkward and hard to size, but the best thing you can do is go ahead and use the 2 different chats separately. So you can launch the trade video, and it will show up. Currently it's offline because I'm actually broadcasting on John's main channel, but you would see the video that you see on the main chat now there. The beauty of this is entirely scalable. You can make it whatever size works best for your particular monitor setup. So that's really a great feature. And then you can also launch the gas chat. It's going to tell me I'm already in use because I have one open, but we have a separate chat just for gas. I call it Gas World subscribers, and in there we post the actual trades, and I'll show you that a little later. Let me get this other. There we go. And if you don't have it, look it up. It's called Always on Top Maker EXE. And it's a great way to keep your chats above your platform so they don't keep diving behind it.
What was that name again?
It's Always on Top Maker EXE.
Maker EXE. All right.
I've posted a link before, but it's a great little tool, especially if your chat rooms or anything dives below something else. You want to keep it on top. Alright, so that's that. That's how you launch it. Now let's talk about the actual screen itself. I'm going to have to keep resizing my Procaster window. I'm working across 4 monitors. I have one smaller monitor that I use for the GasBot itself. And it's off to my right in my setup. And then I have a second computer altogether that I'm I listen to the station, because otherwise I'd be rebroadcasting your audio.
No, that's the fine balance.
Yeah. So in any event, what you're seeing here, just for quick orientation, is you're seeing the the E-mini futures contract, which is the symbol currently for the June contract is ESM13. I do apologize in advance. I'm going to go, from basic to much more advanced through this. I'm trying to get people that are, newer to futures to understand what they're seeing on the screen. And just, I'm curious. My audio's good for the members.
Let's get a consensus in the room. I hear you fine. That sounds good, but that's...
Yeah, they haven't responded yet. There's a bit of delay, but one thing for sure you want to do for this show is go full screen on John's, on your main station, just by putting your mouse over the center of the video, and it says full. Go ahead and go full screen so you'll be able to see the same detail that I'm showing.
It's very clear. It's absolutely fantastic clarity in full screen.
All right, well, good deal. So anyways, I have a little trick I use for my subscribers, and that is when the bot's not taking live trades, I change the background to the chart to a dark blue. So currently they're both set to dark blue. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go up to the ES chart, and I'm going to format the window, and I'm going to change the color of the background. So now clearly people can see that it's in a live mode, even though I haven't turned it on yet. But that's my way of keeping the members, so they can look at a glance and just see whether the bot's taking live trades or it's simulating trades. And let me just stop there for a second and talk about, obviously with live trades you're actually placing orders on the exchanges, and they will fill, and you're actually making actual real money trades. In the simulated mode, the automated strategy will fill orders based on price activity. And you'll see it, you can still trade around a sim bot, but obviously it's not trading real dollars. And there are times when the market I don't think is good for counter trending, and I'll get to that when I start talking more about the actual bot. But right now, currently, I'm going to put this thing into a live mode. See if we can get it to work for us tonight. I have to do two things. I have to change the profit target. Because what I did was in sim mode, I upped it to 3 ticks, John, because it was filling a little too easily.
Yeah.
So I'm going to change this back to the $25. It was more realistic looking for 3 ticks. And what this is, and just so people that aren't at all familiar, this is a way I'm able to go in and change inputs. In strategies, you have inputs, you have variables that are calculated without the user having any control over it. And so these inputs I'm allowed to change. And I took the profit target strategy and the stop loss strategy that came with TradeStation, and I built it into the code on the 6.1 bot. And we'll go ahead and turn that on. I have to tell the lawyers I agree that I'll take responsibility.
Strategy alert.
And bingo. Now I'm going to drag the gas chat over. I'm going to show you how we've set up RPM's help. My platform instantly emails a separate server dedicated to the GasBot, and then it posts in this room the orders. You can see the last order was an order for the ESM13 contract. It was placed by GasBot 6.1. It's a short entry, or SE. So it's trying to sell short or offer at 15.50 half. And what I have turned off, which I'm going to turn back on, is I want it to show my position orders. And you can see the little red line there with the L1. So it's trying to offer or sell one car there at the 15.50. You're awful quiet over there, Jay.
No, I'm watching. It's a good me too.
All right, so now let's talk about this indicator on the bottom. Because members were having trouble, particularly if they're watching on their phone or weren't entirely certain about what the bot was doing. I went ahead and created an actual indicator that sits in the bottom of the chart, and it paints a green histogram, which you see to the left, when it's in a long position. And that long position was actually a simulated one, but it actually got long here on that big swoosh, and ultimately it got taken out on a timed exit, and I'll get to that much later. But in any event, you can see that it was in a position. So just a quick glance at the screen, you know immediately it's in a position. Now there's no histogram painted since the actually 1815 there and on, so it's still not in a position.
Yeah.
Now the bot itself is a counter trend strategy, and for those that weren't around for the original bot roll, when I first started just showing automated strategies, originally I said, this strategy is great. It's going to ignore all the inside noise, and it's only going to break out and trade when these price candles move away from these two different levels. And these levels are actually something that I developed, that they're what I call pertinent price levels. And what I found was, it was kind of serendipitously, I found that, yeah, it would make some good trades, but not enough of them to really make it worthwhile. And, obviously they all didn't work. Breakouts don't always work. But I said, let me just try for the heck of it and trade in that noise. And lo and behold, I was able to use a very small profit target and make those trades over and over again inside of this let's call it a gas channel for lack of anything else.
That's a good one.
There you go. So, in any event, this is go ahead.
No, I was just saying it's the gas pipe.
There you go, gas pipe. I can't do the show and read the jokes in the room if that's where it came. Oh, it was your jug, I see. All right, so in any event, that said, I don't want that. I'll show you the NQ chart real quick, and then we'll go on to talk about a little more about the codes and kind of what people are tuning in for. So we also have audio alerts, because there is an audio side to the gas video, and the TradeStation platform itself will say strategy alert or order filled. So it'll actually give you not only the visual, where you have the inside the chat, you have the orders posting, and they post within about a second and a half. And generally, you have plenty of time to if you're tracking trading, meaning if you're trying to follow the bot, you'll have plenty of time to get your order in, so you can trade along with it.
The one aspect of it changed after we spoke. After that, you started implementing a time strategy too. Is that going to be talked about?
Yep.
All right.
Yep. But let me just get a little more orientation going.
Yep. No, go right ahead.
So, in some platforms it's called the DOM, and in others, in TradeStation, they call it the matrix. But what this is basically you see the levels, you see how many bids there are, how many offers there are, you see the volume profile here to the left. So what you're seeing here is that the current price is 49.25. I'm up here bidding the 50-50, 15-50-50. I shouldn't say bid, I should say offer. So that's what I'm trying to get short. And that corresponds in this case with the white line on the chart. And there is a bit of an issue with real estate with the screen, so there's only so much I can show. But basically, it allows me to have not only the ES for my subscribers, or our subscribers, I should say, but also the NQs. And the NQs are a little different. That's a more directional contract, meaning it tends to move in more vector-wise. In other words, trying to just get a couple ticks on the NQ, doesn't work nearly as well as getting. It turns out to be 2.25 points. So on one car, that's $65 of profit, and that really has been chewing it up over the last few months. It's helped my overall returns. But right now, we just have that on sim at the moment. So let's talk a little bit about timed exits and why there's timed exits in the first place. What I found is that as we got into that election time and then the financial cliff business and all that, the market got to be a little more directional, and I was seeing that there was more stops than I care to take. So I came up with the concept that maybe you give a trade just so long, and then you just bail on it, and you save yourself the pain of taking the full hit. And what I found is there were certain periods in the market, and I broke up I created 3 different periods so I could have 3 different sets of timed exits. So I go from about 5 minutes or 10 minutes after the U.S. Open through to the evening time, and that starts at 6 p.m. and that runs all the way to midnight, just because that's the way the clock works. So I had to stop one period at midnight. That tends to have periods where you really want to give it some extra time. And then I went ahead and used the 3rd period from when I started to trade again in the morning. The euro opens at 3 a.m. Through to that 9:40 or 9:35 period. And that allowed me to have 3 different sets of timed exits. Now, for those that aren't familiar with the GasBot, there are things built into the code, and there have been since really the beginning. And that is, I can set certain times where it's allowed to take trades or initiate a position, and certain times it's not allowed to take trades. And I found that late in the afternoon, it was a little bit riskier to counter trend the market, after about 2 or 3 in the afternoon for sure. And then I also found lately that from midnight up to the euro open, a lot of times the market just drifts in one direction or the other. And that's not what you're looking for a counter trend. So what I've been running mostly is I let the bot wait until the euro's open about 5 minutes after 3 a.m. and then I'll let it run all the way through for at least 11 or 10 hours. And that seems to be the better time of day for the bot. But that can change, obviously, depending on the market, because the market changes. What works in the fall may not work in the winter.
All right. Well, that sounds. Let's see. I'm just looking at. So let's go back over something here, Gas. Now that you have the different colors on here, so the black. Do you have a standardized color? Blue means it's offline. It's not taking live trades.
Blue means it's in sim mode.
Sim mode.
And above it, you see it's a black background, so that means it's live.
Okay.
And you can verify that by seeing the orders. Now, let me make a point about orders. When you're manually tracking and trading the bot, there's nothing stopping you from having an offer to sell up here and maybe an offer to bid down here. You can have 2 coexisting orders. However, with an automated trading strategy, you cannot have simultaneous orders like that. So I can only have either, an offer to get short or a bid to get long. Okay. Now, there's 3 things that can happen when the bot's running live, assuming it's in a time frame that I've said yes, go ahead and initiate positions. It can either be trying to get short, or it can be trying to get long, or it can be in neutral. Now, what happens when it's in neutral is that there's no edge between the yellow line, the white line, or the red line. There's just no edge. Neither of them are more pertinent than the other. And that's all written within the code. The yellow line, for those that aren't familiar with it, is just a midpoint between the 2. Because at one time I thought that would be a great place to take your exit. Sort of 50% retracement within the range. Turned out not to be near as good as the smaller profit targets. But I'm going to make use of that. You'll see in this latest rollout here. Questions so far?
Well, do we have any questions in the room? Again, just to update maybe some of the new listeners out here, we have Gas. Gas is a member of the site, Jim Frazier, and the originator of the GasBot. So I think this is more of a basic coverage of the GasBot. I think just to catch people up to speed, right? I mean, there's still a lot of things that when I first heard about the GasBot, really caught my attention was, and I don't know if you want to cover that or refer back to the old videos, but the process of back testing, you're reporting the statistical analysis of the trades and how you could tweak it a bit. You know, I always found that great. I was wondering if you did that with the timed exits. Was
Yeah,
there a way?
absolutely. Let me cover that whole subject matter because it's an important one for those that aren't familiar at all with the automating trading and what you can do with the actual code. So what I'm showing on the GasBot now is the continuous ES contract. You cannot trade it because it isn't an actual contract, but what it does, John, is it allows you to take data from subsequent contracts and blend them all into one single chart. So this is what I use when I backtest. In other words, I'm looking back to data all the way back to September here. It's almost a half a year worth of data. And when you think about a 1 minute chart, it's open 2.5 hours a day or whatever it is. It's a lot of data.
Yeah.
So it's good though because the rule of thumb in backtesting is you want to have a decent number of trades, 50 or 100 at least. Well, I'm looking at thousands of trades, so I'm able to go back and see it over many different time frames, which is good for looking at results. All right, so what you see on the screen here is the actual continuous contract, the ES, and then below it is that number of contracts indicator that I covered before. And then so people that aren't familiar with it, when you see the red here, that means it was in a short, and if you look up above, it actually got its profit. And then it was in another long, and then you see a gap, and then finally in a long that ultimately it got timed out, and it's a long exit too, which means it's in that second period, and that's because it's before 1800. Now what I did was so that I wouldn't be caught flat-footed when this thing was about to take me out with a market order, is I said, okay, I know how long my period is. I'm going to paint these green bars, but then I'm going to change them to yellow 5 minutes before it's going to take me out. So, and that actually had an alert attached to it, and it goes out into the gas chat. It says 5-minute warning on your
Strategy
long
alert.
entry. All right.
Yeah.
And I just got a notice on the ES contract. Where's my? I'll put it up here in the corner. And what it did there is it canceled that offer to get short, and now it wants to get long. And I hate to be ADD here and jumping from one screen to the other, but that just happened live, so we'll show it. So what happened here is this white line became the non-pertinent line, and this red line became the fresher line, and now you see that we're now looking to be long at this level. So without doing anything, the computer went ahead and made that change for me. But the GasBot subscribers would get not only that audio alert, strategy alert, they would also see in the gas chat that a new order has been placed, and it's looking to buy that ESM 13 contract at that 1548.75. Okay, so the other thing that's on this chart, and I'm back showing the continuous contract, is I'm showing what I call the angle indicator, and this is what I'm using for my new smarter, or I call them intelligent, timed exits. And let me show some results. I got that over here. Now, first thing I did, John, is I had an idea that I've seen some situations where it gets its 2 ticks, but I'm looking at the chart going, man alive, look, that should have stayed in that trade and should have gone, farther with it. So I was trying to find a way to go ahead and stay in some trades when it was more favorable to myself. And one thing I noticed was when the gas pipe, if you will, as we called it, was really flat, you had a good chance of, you know, hitting the top line and then being short, getting, you know, a close proximity to at least the midpoint or even farther below that. So, you know, instead of taking 2 ticks out of a trade, you could get 5, 6, 7, 8 maybe, whatever. So I was thinking, well, how am I going to write the math for that? Because one of the things in automated trading is that you have a concept in your mind, or you do something, you know, as a human, and you say, okay, this is what I do, and this is why I do it. And then the puzzle becomes you have to find the math behind the decision making and tell the computer code, this is what I want you to do. But, you know, computers, as you know, are extremely efficient and very obedient, but they're dumb as rocks. In other words, they don't make any judgments. So you have to come up with math that actually, you know, the computer can say, okay, A, B, C, and D, and E, fine. I'm going to do, you know, Y. So what I was looking at was trying to measure the flatness of the gas pipe, if you will. But the thought being is that when the thing was flat, I would be able to look for larger profit targets, in essence. But that actually didn't work as well because it wasn't as responsive as looking at the price itself. And I developed about 5 years ago with a coding buddy of mine something called angle. And an angle has to do with it's your mind's eye that looks at a chart and says, yeah, that's a steep incline, or that's a flat chart, or that's a steep decline. And what it uses is arctangent, and what goes ahead and it measures what we call degrees, and it basically rates the slope of the chart itself. But as you know, you can just move your chart around and change what is the slope per se. But it doesn't change the math. And if you want to think of angle, you can call it really what it is change in price over time.
Yeah.
And now on the bottom of this chart, I have 2 lines. One's yellow, one's green. The yellow one is that measure of angle. You can see here, for example, when the price was ripping up here a little after, 3:40 in the afternoon, angle got positive. This white line is the 0 line. And then once the price rolled around, there's a bit of a delay. This is unfortunate because that's true of almost any kind of a moving average or anything that measures, fractal movement. You go ahead and see that indicator, that angle, became very negative during all this swoop down here. And I thought I might be able to utilize this to determine if I should look for a larger profit target. Now, what I did was, oftentimes this moves, above and below 0 so frequently that, it becomes almost random because, price movement's choppy. I mean, if you think about what they call fractal movement, which has to do with, the best example I can think of is, if you look at the average coastline of, any country, it's not a smooth set of curves. It's basically jagged. But the idea mathematically is to try and find a way to smooth that out. So you do have some mathematical curves to use for calculations. And the best thing for that is what they call a fractal moving average. And what it does is it skips the data. And what that does is it decreases the lag but increases the accuracy. So I did take the fractal moving average of the angle. I put that in there, and I wrote the code so that I could either use one or the other depending on whether I put an input in at 1 or 2. And in automated trading strategies, whenever you have an input, you then can go back and optimize that input. Like you mentioned earlier, the look backs. So what I'm doing is I'm going to Format Strategies. Let me squeeze down here a little bit. And if I double click on it, I get my input window up. And I can scroll down to those, bars to exit, long exit 1 and short exit 1. Remember I had 3 different periods, 1, 2, and 3. Well, you can just go highlight that, say, go to the Optimize tab, And then what you get is another little window that pops up and says, okay, I want you to start looking at the results from the number 50 up through 300 in 10-minute increments in this point. And it'll go back and it'll actually run that. It's a certain number of tests, and depending on how many variables you do at the same time, is a certain amount of tests, and it's obviously a certain amount of time. But then ultimately you can have your results, and you can graph those results, and you can see if it's a random thing or whether it actually has a bell curve to it, which is what is ideal. So you have a sweet spot in your inputs. But I was able to go through there and look at the better times. Now, one thing I did discover was it seemed that in this market, at least the last 6 months, it gives the long trades a hell of a lot more time than it does the shorts. And that could be one of two things. Either one, we have been going up pretty much, so it would be logical that staying in long trades longer would make the most sense. Or it can be that the market does the, what is it, stairs up and elevator down.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I guess when you're holding longs and the market's going down, it feels much worse than having longs and the market going up.
Right. I guess my point is that what I think I'm finding out, at least in the last 6 months, is that if you are in a short position, it's either going to work out well fast or it's going to work out very poorly.
Yeah.
So it's giving the shorts a lot less time, particularly during the active periods when either the European market's trading or the U.S. market's trading. But yes, you can go through and optimize that. But anyways, what I did was, with this one, I created what I called angle type, and it's either 2 or 1. And depending on that, I went ahead and utilized one, either the straight angle, or I utilized the Framma, like that fractal moving average, to determine whether I should look for a larger profit target. Let me close that down and move over to what they call the trade graphs. And what you're seeing here is a scatter graph of the actual winning trades. And you see there's a thick green line here at 20. Well, 20 is the net of the 2 tick trades. So even though it gave us some more trades, it wasn't a ton. There was a few of them there that looks like they got 3 ticks, and some that got 4 ticks, and a few that got 5 ticks. Maybe even, 5 ticks. But the average is very close to the 20. And you even had a few rare trades that were for 1 tick. My guess is those are trades that got timed out. They just happened to get timed out for a tick profit.
Okay. Now I'm trying to read that on the side. What is so your X and Y axis? One that says, what is that? Profit?
Okay. Dollars of profit for each trade.
Profit.
Okay,
right. Gotcha. So
I'm
that's
sorry.
how you're calculating the ticks.
I apologize. I look at this stuff a lot, so to me, I'm already oriented. So please stop me when it's not obvious what I'm showing, because
I just want to clarify that, because people could get confused, like they're trying to figure out what a tick is or something.
Right. So a tick in the ES is $12.50 of profit, and then it reduces your commission generally by about $5, because you pay on the way in and the way out. Usually about $2.30 plus a little fee, depending on whether it's at night or not. And basically you net out, in this case 20s, and then you see, will be the 2 ticks, or $25 less the 5.
Mm-hmm.
And you see 3 ticks here. There's some trades, and a few at 4 ticks, and then some at 5 ticks.
Excellent.
So it does give you a few extra. And to show you kind of what that looks like, let me open up. I took a few screenshots. Okay, so here we go. We got, there's no real point in zooming in on this. It's actually showing up pretty good, right, John, on the main?
It takes me, it's a little, it's coming up now. I just getting you before. Yeah, here it comes.
Yeah, there. All right, so what I've done here is I've drilled down on a trade that was going to be, no, you know what, let me, jumping ahead of myself here. Yeah, I'm definitely jumping ahead of myself. Here we go. All right. So here's the typical scenario, John, when this thing tends to work the way it's designed. Here's a position where I've gotten short. Here it looks like around I don't know, 9:18 in the morning or so, and then it starts taking heat. And one thing I notice is that it's a counter-trending strategy, right? So chances are when you get short, angle's going to be positive, meaning it's kind of making relative new highs.
Yeah.
Or if you get long, it's angle's going to be negative because obviously you're counter-trending a move down.
Yeah.
So the typical scenario for this to add to the profit is you just go ahead and see that you're in the trade, you take some heat, angle gets very positive. Now it starts to go in your favor. And you can see by here there's a yellow bar, meaning this thing was 4 minutes from being taken out based on time. But what happened was when it got to this bar here, I hope you see, can you see the cursor?
Yep.
Yeah. So when it got to that bar, because code is always evaluated at the end of the bar, it looked down and said, look, angle's now in your favor. It's gone negative. So instead of letting it time out, it said, okay,
let's hold. Yeah.
Not only are we going to stay in the trade, but we're going to extend that profit target. So we're going to get extra profit. And what it does is it calculates the range from the white bar down to the red bar, and then uses a percentage of that. And that was also an input that I could optimize. And I first thought 50% was going to work, but when I went back and back tested it, turned out 25% was the ideal amount. And then I had to write the code that said, as long as the 25% is greater than the 2 ticks, the base profit target, go ahead with the other value.
Nice. I liked how you used that indicator to kind of to switch up. Have you still been using the bot which adds multiple contracts?
Well, I've written it. I haven't run it.
Okay.
It was something that we covered in one of the videos that's in the forum.
Yeah, because that technique you were just talking about, using using that time, and if it looks like the trade might work out, you'll cancel the timing issue. It might even be a good indicator for adding to a position at that point.
Yeah, what I did, just I don't want to get too far off tangent, but what I said was, this is all once again built into that code. If the price falls a certain percentage or number of ticks from my original entry, and we're back on the red line again for the longs, go ahead and take a second position.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see. I'll show another example of this. I put a small arrow there to show me. So this is the same basic deal, John. It got short. Angle was very positive. It ran up, and then it started to fall down. Once again ran up. Now it started to drift down to the point where angle now got negative. So when it got in here, instead of looking for 2 ticks, it said, hey, I'm in a position that's going my way, and it added to that position. So it got extra profit target because angle was negative.
Gotcha. Yeah, I like that. I like that.
And I'll show you a third example. It's interesting. It seems to have worked the most on the short side. Now here's the same scenario. You're short. You take some heat. You see all this drifting down here. Well,
Strategy
angle got
alert.
All right. So the bot just switched up to an offer again to short. In any event, you can see how it extended itself, and it got extra profit.
Yeah. So again, not jumping all over the place. What are we? Let's see. Were we gonna show something else on this?
Yeah, let me show you what I thought was a little even more exciting, if you will.
Bring it on.
Yeah. So yeah, not well. I actually, in a way, I've covered both. I'm using the angle to either to get more profit target. I'm also using angle on the timed exits, and this becomes something what I said. Look at okay. What I didn't like about the timed exits, John, is I just went back, looked at obviously many trades, decided, and let me answer a question. Gas, it's 25% of the range of the lines becomes the new profit target, Chili G. So in other words, when the range is wide in the gas pipe, it'll get more profit than when it's very tight, which makes sense. I mean, if you're not seeing a lot of movement, why put a home run order out there? The chances of getting hit are much less, right?
Yeah.
All right. So what I said was, timed exits. I didn't like the fact that it was almost they're just stupid. Basically, you go back and say, okay, I looked at thousands of trades, and turns out after 28 minutes you want to kill your short, something along those lines. And I've seen it where the thing was working in my favor, the price action, and then boom, it takes it out. Maybe it's a small loss, but it's still a loss. So I said, well, look at if I'm going to use this angle to increase, my profit target on those trades that are working well, then let's go ahead and use it to stay in those timed exits. In other words, if the timed exit would have fired, but angle is in our favor, you stay in the trade until angle either isn't in your favor or your profit target gets hit. And let me show you some examples of that. Here's one where, and if you remember, I said there's a 5-minute warning.
Yeah.
So you can see the bottom of this. There's at least 7 or 8, or maybe even 9 yellow bars there. And what happened was, when it got to that point, John, where it would have taken me out somewhere in here, probably down a tick or two.
Yep.
It looked down at angle and said, "Wait a minute, angle's positive.
Yep.
No reason to bail."
Yep.
And boom, what do you know? It got its profit target after all.
Yeah.
So that little addition in this particular trade saved us anywhere from 2 to 4 points.
I like
ticks, sorry.
Yeah.
I mean, it takes. That's why I kind of nickname it intelligent time stops instead of dumb ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's another one, and you can see when these yellow bars go on beyond 5. Another one here. You're once again the same.
The yellow bar. Once the yellow bar shows up, that's the first minute of your 5-minute countdown.
Correct.
And each bar represents a minute.
Correct, because they're 1-minute bars.
All right.
So here's the typical. Once again, we saw it on the short side, and we'll show it on the long side. You take a bunch of heat. Now angle gets very negative. Now all of a sudden price is much better. Angle goes up. Now when you get to that 5-minute point, you would have been maybe flat or down 1, maybe even 2. So, it's hard to tell exactly. But ultimately it turned around and boom, you got your profit target because angle stayed positive for you. Here's another example where we turned what could have been a flat trade or a slightly negative trade into a profit target again.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. Let me roll through. I don't have that many of them, but here's another one where it extended beyond. And this was beautiful because look here, it sort of plateaued up there, but yet angle did go negative. So right about the time it would have taken you out for maybe a tick loss, it stayed in and got this beautiful drop. So I kind of like this. I'm more excited about how it protects the time stops than I am so much about the extended profit targets. But I'll take the positive return on either side.
It's good. It's good to see it work too. It's good to see how it just automates itself. It protects itself.
Right, and here once again, same theme. You're short. You take a bunch of heat. All of a sudden, it moves in your direction, and you stay in it much longer. See how there's way more than 5 bars there?
Yeah. Here's a good question for you. Just because you've been using the bots for so long now, what with with breaking down all your trades and back testing your live trades, have you determined an optimal time to trade in the markets? Between the couple hours.
Yeah, like I said, I've
Is there
it,
one that really stands out and like say, well, most of the trades are successful, from 10 to 11.
well, it's funny. I kind of like trading the open,
Yeah.
and another member that has the code, it looks for much higher profit targets. The GasBot 5.0,
Yeah.
and that's really does well in that opening movement because there's swings.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean,
No,
some people want to trade the first hour and they don't want to come back till 2.
it's like going out into going into the gunfight, guns blazing.
Yeah.
You're going out.
I mean, I'd say one thing. I mean, just from a human trading standpoint, after a while it gets exhausting to constantly be fighting the tape because
Yeah.
in a counter trend strategy, that's what you're doing. Now, one concept that I'm looking to maybe add is I've seen the bot, get caught up in a trend, right, and take a loss,
Yeah.
and it immediately, tries to counter trend yet again. And I thought about maybe building in a wait period, so it's in timeout, if you will,
Hmm.
and give the market a chance to climax run or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's in the future, and that's part of what I'm trying to do here for the subscribers is to continue to work on this and improve it.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one I want to show you just to show how this thing operates. Here's one where see how the yellow bars exceeded 5 again?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it was short, and then it went along, and then all of a sudden, angle, I show it with a circle here on the bottom, went positive. So then the code says, okay, you're well over your time limit, and angle is no longer in your favor, you're out. And it got a 1-tick trade there, and then avoided all this, area where it would have taken a loss.
Nice. Yeah. Yep. I see it. So.
Here's another one, just more of the same. A little bit of
Once
heat.
it is over, once the angle crosses the positive territory in the short, after your time limit, it automatically takes you out.
Correct.
All right. Check.
Yeah, I mean, here's a beautiful one. Look at that. And it looks like it got 3 ticks there instead of the usual 2.
Yeah.
But once again, it's because the angle got negative for me. That one I've already covered. That one I've covered. Okay, so that's that. Let's talk about some results so people can see some things. Oh, I know what I wanted to show you. Let me close that down. Move that down. Oh, I guess I got hundreds of these open. Oh, I don't know what I just closed over there. Let me show you the losing trades on the same graphical basis. I want to show this one. Hang on. Isn't it fun doing live shows?
Oh yeah, this is good stuff.
All right, so once again we have a scatter plot. On the left-hand side, starting from the very top at 0, no loss, all the way down to our 200 plus 5 for our commission. And you see, these are the full stop losses, and there's still a fair number of them. But unlike the profit targets, we have a whole spattering now of different losses, and that's due to the timed exits. And to me, this really is what I think is helping overall the performance, because it doesn't take, it's not win or lose. There's an intermediate ground, and you can see this blue line, John, is under 120.
Yep.
So the losses would have been averaging 200 before 205. Then there might be less of them, obviously, but at least the average is well above that. So you're not taking as big a hit.
And let's go over it. I mean, right now, all this is coming from your trade station.
It is.
Yes.
So they're clamoring for some data, just like
We want data.
just like your members would.
Yeah. What are they looking for? Let me check in the room here. And welcome to the GasBot.
I'm looking at it in the main chat, John.
All right.
So there's a comment about percentage, and obviously with the timed exits, the percentages are different. But they're still maintaining pretty darn well. I'm showing 88.99%. And just for those that aren't familiar with this takes all your trades and lists them in the first column. And this thing is looking back over 5,000 trades. Relatively balanced, a few more shorts than longs. Your average winning trade is roughly about that $20. So those extra trades aren't adding that much to it. It's interesting. Your long trades have the higher average of a loss at 181, but don't forget they're getting a lot more time in them based on the back testing. And then the shorts average at about $90 on their losses. And if I scroll down, for those of you familiar with the Rhina index, it's 2,308. Yeah, Chili G, this is about half a year. It's actually 5 months, 29 days. Pretty close to 6 months, yeah. And then we have performance graphs. And what you're looking at here is on the side, it's the scaling of the dollars up from 26,000 down to 0, and the number of trades. And the green dots are new relative highs. So you'll see the thing has made money up, taken about a $1,500 hit, worked its way back up, started making green dots again. And here it took a pretty good beating from it looked like it lost 3,000 in there. So you have to be prepared for this. And it worked its way back out, made more green dots, took another little dip, more green dots. You can see ultimately it finished there.
And you got to remember, I think that's a good point right here. This is the trades with the bot running in a process. Remember, all this back testing is back testing, right? It's taking all the trades, historical or not, in some cases, putting them all together and running it 24 hours, right?
Yeah, the way this thing is set up for back testing purposes is I wanted to test as much data as possible. I don't have almost no restricted periods for the bot.
Yeah.
I haven't even bothered to go back and tested the time periods. Basically, it takes a while to even get to this point, John, and then do all the optimization on the inputs and making sure the code's working right. But they also have what they call a detailed curve, and it actually uses time instead of trades for its x-axis. And you can see clearly, it gets hot, takes a hit, gets hot. It does this stair-step deal.
Yeah.
Had you started the GasBot right here at this peak and traded it for 2 weeks, you'd say this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Yeah. I just lost,
yeah.
$2,500, right?
Yeah. Like anything, if you've messed around with automated systems, you can get into a day that's a trending day, and it just it's not a good day for a strategy that goes against certain markets will not be good for it, and it's.
Yeah. Well, and you bring up a great point, John. Hang on.
It really comes down to you guys, pulling the plug on that. If we talk about people,
there's more to it though, because in the code itself, it keeps track of its session gains and losses.
Yeah.
And I have what I call max pain, and I can actually write that into the code. So, for example, if I'm concerned about the overnight action, I could set that max pain to as little as $200.
Yeah.
And it'll trade until it's dropped $200 from whatever peak. So let's say it made 5 good trades in a row and was up $100. And then it lost 200, and that was my setting. It would shut down until I got back to it and adjusted those settings.
Yeah.
So in a way, that's a safety feature for some kind of a big flush when I'm not around.
Yeah.
I can do the same thing if I'm heading off to work or something. Of course, I won't be here tomorrow right after the show because that's the way my schedule works, right? There's also a thing called a session goal. And that is if you put in, let's say you want to make $500 and then you want to stop taking risk, it'll do that too. It'll keep track of that. Once you're up 500 for the day, it'll just shut down, period. And in a way, that's kind of like prop tests are. You know, a lot of them say to people, you come in, we'll give you the capital, you know, we'll give you a percentage of what you make, but you know, once you're down X dollars, you're down, buddy. You're out of here for the day. And then you know, a lot of them say, look at, you know, once you've made a certain amount, consider yourself, you know, successful that day, and stop taking risk.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I hope it's not just me that gets excited when I come up with these codes that can actually, you know, add. And this particular one, it added about $4,000 ultimately, the new coding, to the results. Now it's not, you know,
That's worth the time and effort.
it's not doubling the returns by any stretch, but it's adding.
We'll go more over the, you know, let's go more over the results here, because I think, you know, you bring that up and people are not getting you know, they're looking at the red. They're like, well, explain this a little bit more, just to go into it. I know what it's about. You know what it's about, but I'm talking about people. We haven't talked about the GasBot in a while, so we should get down to the nitty gritty of everything about it, you know, while we have the opportunity. I mean, these are just the adjusted trade, you know, your winning trades, your losing trades, your trade percentage. Talk about how many trades you have to make. What's the ratio between winners and losers?
Well, but with the timed exits,
Yes.
you know, basically, if you have to make up for a $120 average loss, you'd need about 6 trades.
Okay, so just to lay it out, what is it? So you need 6 winning trades
To balance out one average losing trade.
one average losing trade. But that's the average has definitely adjusted itself since you've added the you know, the new criteria in there, the time exits plus the angle.
Correct.
But it also adjusted the other side too, because you might actually get out with less than a profit, right? In some cases.
Yeah, I mean, the other thing is, you know, people, you know, show up in the room and they're, you know, they're only there for, you know, part of the day, and they, you know, they take some trades, and then, you know, basically, you know, we had a guy in today, he pulled 16 points out of the ES just following the bot.
Right.
Now he was trading 4 cars, so that, you know, but I mean, that's $800 he was able to generate.
Yeah.
You know, he said, look, I think I paid for a few months of the GasBot today.
So yeah. By the way, it's $29.95 for those. You know, that's a month, people. That's.
Yeah, I mean, his quote, I think, was, "It's an extremely useful product at a ridiculously low price."
Yeah.
So, you know, that said, so I mean, to go through the results, basically, you know, you see that, yeah, there's profit, but you know, you do take, you know, a fair amount of losses. I mean, it's to make 25, you got to have 90,000 in gains with 66,000 in losses.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so losses are part of it.
It's a strategy game. You really, it's about, you know, it's the true reason why automated trading is they don't really care about the results, but they want to be positive. At the end of the day, if you're making money, then we're in the right direction. So they don't look at like, oh gee, it's $25,000 loss, you know, but you don't, you know, and it's like, it doesn't matter. It's at the end of everything, you know. It's like, just give me the receipt at the end of the day.
I mean, just look down here midway, John. Your average trade net profit's $5.
Yeah.
You know, you're generating almost as much for your, you know, the commission's $23,000. Although you trade this many cars, you get a discount, but it's not as much as you might think. But you're generating almost as much for your broker as you are for yourself.
And this is, again, I don't know if you even mentioned this, but this is all based off one contract.
Correct.
So that's an important thing too. This is just trading off of one contract. So everything else is, you know, double it, triple it, quadruple it, you know, add it up.
Oh yeah, thanks for bringing that up, because we had talked about trading more than one car. I actually wrote a version of the GasBot that added to the position, And the ideal place to add seemed to be 3 to 4 ticks away from your first entry. Any more than that, you're already kind of getting into the point where you've got a bad trade going, and you're throwing good money at bad.
Mm-hmm.
So that was interesting to see in the optimization that 3 to 4 ticks was the ideal place, and it kind of backed that up when I was optimizing the breakout strategy, where I was trading above the getting long up at the white line and looking for a long, and the opposite, getting short at the red line and looking for a short. I built in the code a fudge factor. In other words, do you want to front run it? Do you want to go ahead and let it prove itself? And what I found is that you don't want to get long for a breakout right at the line. You want to wait for it to get 4 ticks beyond it. So it kind of makes sense that is the right place to add. So that 3 to 4 ticks, at least in the ES, is really that sort of full noise that it has.
Mm-hmm.
That's what one thing it's interesting when you go back and look at old data and using the speed of the computer, you can test these things, and ultimately that certain levels on average now are the places to take your further action. So I'd rather see people hold their powder to dry, and let their trade get a little against them, and then put themselves in a position where they can fix it easily.
I want to ask you a question, Jim. This is an interesting one. You're pretty an expert on the programming aspects of this, using TradeStation, using the whatever language you're using on this.
Yeah, it's easy language.
Easy language. I don't know why I never asked you this before, because I'm thinking, I'm looking at the numbers up there, and I'm thinking of the average trader we have who trades the futures, the beginner trader. Someone might be interested in this. I would love to see, using your back testing. I mean, how hard is it to input a couple just fresh numbers? What I'm saying is, like, say, put $5,000 in, run the strategy back for 2 months, and let's look at the results.
Well, I'm not sure what the 5,000 is about, but
I'm just saying, just because you get a better feel for what $5,000 could do for you on the
okay. Here's what we're gonna do.
Realistic numbers instead of looking at
Hang on, dude. Hang on.
No, I know. I'm excited about it.
I'm getting excited. All right, here we go. I got the first date set for the maximum data, but I want you to tell me when you want me to start running it.
Let's just do it since 6 months.
Well, that is 6 months, man.
All right, that's maximum data.
Yeah.
All right.
It overwhelms us,
All right, I'm sorry then.
It's 1 minute chart.
Yes. All right, so 6 months is fine.
Pick some date this year.
This year.
Yeah.
January 1st.
Okay. So what I just did is I changed the chart so the data wouldn't start showing until the 1st of January.
Okay, now this is based off of how much is in the account. Or it doesn't matter. This is starting 0, pretty much.
Yeah, what it does, it says, okay, so now instead of making 24, you only made 14. So you cut the period almost in half, and it made more.
Exactly.
So
I just wanted to get that point out there. I think there's little things like this that we kind of jump over real fast. It shows you a little bit better of, people have this, especially in futures, you have this instantaneous gratification. You want to know how much money you're going to make with this. It's hard to look at a bot and understand that the key to the bot is a long run. It's the marathon.
Well, let's use February 1st. We'll cut another month off it.
Yeah.
And this actually brings up a very good point about automated charts, if you will. See, now that turned out that we lost half our gains by excluding January. So it turns out January was a good month for the bot.
Yeah.
But, still, you're still up 7 in, 6 weeks?
Now, can you put a certain date? Like, I could just give you a date from last year. You could just put it in, as long as it's
as long as it's not before that September date.
So I could take a very bearish look at the market, look back at the market and say between October and November of last year, when the market has been really just sold off for 2 months.
Order canceled.
Oh my! Did you hear that?
I heard something. I can't. It's not loud enough.
That was a 3-second trade.
Wow. I didn't see that. I heard it. I heard something. I heard a mumbling.
It looked like it shorted 15.50 quarter, and it covered 15.49.75 in about, I don't know, 5 seconds.
There you go. Live trade right there in front of you. Everyone can go home now. Your money is.
I paid for my month.
You got your money's worth right there.
Now see, right away, it's already going ahead and adding. It's trying to short that same level again.
Mm-hmm. That's good. It's like having your line dragging outside the boat and a fish jumping on it.
Exactly. I mean, seriously. Now look at that, moved right through it. So the key there, John, was I happened to get filled up there.
Yeah.
The exit would have been no problem. It went right through it. But the question is, can you get filled when it doesn't go through it? Internet's right. Actually though, Internet, you can set up your platform so when you put in your order entry, your exit bracket immediately gets placed. So yeah, in a way you can do it with these more advanced platforms. Well, at least I got a trade in to show everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and remember, this is all audio. So when you're on a GasBot channel, you'll hear these as you're hearing us now. It's clear, it's loud, it's, I wish we could actually hear it a little bit better so you could show what it sounds like. I could barely hear it, but
well, what I found was for some reason I got to put you down to about 20% or whatever.
Because I'm hot, man.
You are hot. Jeez. I'll shut up now.
Wait, save that part. Yes, I said I'm hot. We got him now.
Is Dawit there?
Dawit's here, actually.
Ask him if he trades the futures.
He doesn't. Maybe baseball cards.
There you go.
Huh? He said, "Are you trading futures?" No. Not yet. He's not.
That was long. 10 oil contracts. All right, so that's kind of the new concept. We got.
Well, I love the idea of the the angle timing and your timed exits. Really good.
I mean, I'm gonna try and find something that's even more responsive to price. But I mean, I remember when we developed this thing, it was probably one of the least lag as far as any kind of, moving averages are horrible. There's so much lag that they're just, in a futures contract, I mean, it just wouldn't help you. So I think it might be the best thing I have, but I'm going to try and see what I can do to, get as much price action in there. I mean, I have written codes, John, where I say as long as let's say I'm in a long position,
yep.
As long as the bar doesn't close above the low, I'm sorry, I'm in a long position. As long as the close isn't below the low of the previous bar, you just stay in the trade.
Yeah.
So in a way, you're using almost instantaneous price action to determine whether you stay in a trade or not.
Yep. And
these things take some hours to write and test. Actually, I would say the coding isn't as time consuming as the setup and the back testing. Which reminds me, I am available for those that have certain trading ideas that want to have code written. I'm working with a member now. He's got something he wants me to write. And I mean, there's a lot you can do. I mean, you can have more than one data, more than one instrument, or more than one symbol on the chart. In other words, you could put. I mean, at one point, there's the QID and the QUD, I think it is.
Yeah, the quit in the. Yeah, I remember
right?
those.
I put them both in a chart, and I figured, well, I'll basically use both of these instruments to tell me which way the Qs were going. And I ran that for a bit. Those are 3x ETFs, so
yeah,
they get pretty jumpy.
All right, and let's see. Oh, well, we got to mention also a bit more about the gas chamber room, the gas chat room. There is a 2 week free trial, so it's it's you don't
Is
really.
it 2 or 1?
Or maybe it's one. I don't know. Maybe we made it one.
Yeah, if I remember, it was 1.
All right, then it's 1 week free trial. If you feel like you need an extra week, that you're dealing with us. You'll get an extra week if you need a new week. But
And at $30, $1 a day, it's really a donation.
it is. It is.
I mean, come on.
It is.
That's why I mean some people just say, look, I don't really necessarily follow the bot trades, but I like it as an indicator, and
Well, that's what I use it for. Yes. Everyone has their own little style of trading the ES. I love lining up the indicators, so I definitely use the gas bot to say, always check with it. Say, I'm looking at a long here, or I'm looking at a short. Oh, look, the gas bot is also looking at a short. He's going at the same area I am. I feel very comfortable in the trade, and that's how I use it. But I also use my dual stochastics, and I feel that that has to be there too. So the combination of both really makes it a pure trade for me. So it's an excellent tool. Track and trade module.
it is kind of impressive at times how much those lines become very significant price points.
Yeah.
I mean, and nothing's 100%, but
No, and again, you're talking about trying to catch an edge in this market. Now, remember, this market, we could talk about this till the cows come in, Kanenko, but Kinko. I just saw a picture of this cow. But the market is being manipulated by the machines. It's obvious there's a profit between 1549 and 1550, and they'll profit off of that move over the last 2 hours. It moved between 49 and 50. So you think about all those contracts being traded. Maybe not a lot, but there is definitely sellers coming in, buyers coming in that range, and they're scalping that. That's what the bot does. But it's a little better. I think it's a little. You have a bigger range. You look for that bigger. Well, you're looking at a decent profit. I mean,
the main thing, John, is to try and avoid the bigger losses. That's because that can wipe out a whole day of
Well, what do you think here, Gas? I mean, we look at those results. We do a back test. A little scenario where we could take a certain amount of money and pretend it was, and just back test and say if I traded from the beginning of February to now, and just took one contract, how much money would I, probably make, or maybe be close to making, or at least get an idea of how the bot works. I like that.
Well, the point is you never know what would have happened, because when you go to live trades, just like for example, when you had the same code I was running, the original bot,
yeah,
at times we were in different trades, and that's because you might have turned it on at a different time than I turned it on, or I was already in a trade. So each bot would run separately, right?
Yeah.
And there are settings within the back testing that you can say how many contracts you require to be filled at a certain level. And I used to use 125, then I started using 250. Now I'm up to 400 because I want to be more convinced that these trades would actually fill. But they're just that. They're back testing trades, so you can't say 100% that this is exactly what you're going to see.
Well, you could go back and look at your your live trades that you have there, and you see the profits and and stuff. And what did you ever have a losing month using the bot?
Oh, I don't think a losing month. I've had a few losing weeks. But the problem with it is as a human, I start getting involved in some of these trades.
Yeah.
And if I see something that I think is going to get taken out, and it's really way overdone or something, and
better yet, you take it upon yourself to get out before an event, because you don't want and that probably, and lots of times that event gives you that volatility that bot would really feed off of. But instead, you get out and then you realize, whoa, look at that chop. We probably would have taken 8 trades, and that.
Well, I was going to say that's probably one of the hardest things is you say, all right, that's it. I'm not trading this last 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then you watch it, order filled, order filled, order filled, and you want to throw something at the monitor or something because you just missed 8 nice trades.
Well, I think we make a point of making the big announcement when you're going to go up to two contracts and then 3 contracts, and then we'll.
Well, basically, I'm trying to continue to put something that's followable in the subscription room because I mean there's a bot I wrote where instead of waiting for the line, it would front run it by 2 ticks and look for 1 tick.
Yeah.
And it was so fast, and it was it would have been, the subscribers wouldn't have been happy.
Well, anyway, I know there's people out there use the bot. Hit me up because I always look for feedback on that. And if you have anything to say about it before gas gets off, send me an email, ironaction@yahoo.com. Ways to improve it. If there's any suggestions, you don't want to make your comments in the room, but anything that you want to say, get it to me fast. ironaction@yahoo.com. How many people we got listening tonight? And I sent this out a few times, so I'm curious to see what our viewers.
I have you full screen, so I don't.
Well, close to 450 people. It's a good turnout tonight.
Good. I'm glad. I mean, I like exposing this to as many people, and if it helps people make some money, then all the better.
I always tell you, I think we need to do this now. Kind of getting back into that. Just communicating better on that. I always told you, when something happens, to get on the air and we'll talk about this. And I know you've been doing a lot of housekeeping on the bot, adding these new features and stuff, and you wanted to get together. But like during the day, if you ever want me to come over there and we'll broadcast it and let you see what's going on there, you just gotta let me know.
Yeah, I mean,
because we don't talk about it enough, to let you know that it's available out there for people. Like I said, you got to check it out to see it in action live, And are you running it overnight still?
I've actually been shying away because of all this Cyprus news.
Yeah.
But, as far as Chili G wants to know when we're going to use the 6.0 with the angle, I think it's ready to go, really. I mean, it's not affecting that many trades, and it doesn't hurt you. I mean, a couple times it keeps you in a trade a few tick or 2 longer, but I don't see any reason why not to. Now, whether I want to have angle on the chart, that's going to take up a lot of real estate.
Yeah.
So that's probably not going to happen. That's probably going to have to be, you obviously see how it works, but I don't think there's room. I mean, that I have to get rid of the NQ charts, which I don't think some people would be pretty unhappy with that. Yeah, I agree with Sonny. I don't think there's room for it.
Let's see what I was going to talk about here. Oh, all right. So, any questions in the room? That's what I actually want to get to the people in the room. If they had any questions, any questions for gas, make sure you just bring them out. You can type them in bold for just purpose. Right now, don't carry the bold over to tomorrow.
I'm pretty sure I covered absolutely everything, John.
You think so? All right.
No, I was reading the chat while I was talking, and somebody's in there. Yeah, this is good, but way too technical for me.
And you know what? I thought the same thing in the beginning, and like anything, everything is a little overwhelming in the beginning. But once you start to immerse yourself, you talk to the community, you go into the room, you hear it day in and day out. That's how you learn. That's how you learn your language. That's how you learn anything from ground. It's overwhelming in the beginning. And then, then you learn how to break it down, and you learn each step. And it's an important part of a trader's, toolbox. It doesn't mean that you need to do it, but it's great to learn it. It's like anything else. You learn the basic building blocks of trading, how trading works, what automated trading. It's like an elective.
Yeah, so, Progenwell's asking about the MFE and the MAE. I'm not sure what those are.
MFE on the back test. So he was mentioning that prolonged something about.
I think it might have to do with efficiency and excursion, but I'm not sure.
Larry says he does enjoy the overnight trading with the bot.
Yeah, I do too. It's just unfortunately, we've had Euro's back in the news again.
Yeah.
And I think basically, if you enter trade at midnight already, fine, let it work out. But I don't think you should go into the Euro Open in a position myself lately, but
Do you just not show it, or you can just put it on sim mode?
yeah, the problem with that is then if I want to trade it real while I'm not necessarily here, I have to get up at 3 in the morning to do that.
All right.
And sometimes this bot does that to you. But I'm just saying, as far as when to trade with real money, I think you let that Euro open, let it spread that red and white line way out, and then you'll have some pertinent places to take your trades. And once again, if you're tracking and trading it, obviously you're awake and you're looking at it. There's no reason why you can't get more if you like to trade. And then the ideal situation is, let's say the 2-tick stop is there, but you're up 4 ticks. Well, fine. If it continues on, you can have a bracket where you get 6 or 8 ticks, but you still make the 2. If you get in that position. Well, I mean, in my defense of being too technical, this is a highly technical stuff. There's just no way around it. You have to know all the different little nuances of how this stuff works and what the math is, and there's no way, 2 other ways to get around it. I mean, it's fun to sit back and watch the final product run and not understand how it works. But I'm trying to get people to understand what's involved underneath, what you don't see. I mean, I got hundreds of lines of code in this thing now.
Oh, yeah, I know. I bet. And it's going to get more.
I mean, there is some blank spaces, but where's my? I got my inputs here. Now my variables start. Then my codes start, and they continue to run. Entry orders. Angle calculations, timed exits, print statements, and there you go. What is that? There must be at least, literally at least 100 lines of code that are, you could break a line up and you have spaces for, making it, look easier to look at, but this thing's gotten a little more hairy,
Wow. Yeah, let's build it up here.
But the beauty of it is you build it in modules, and you just keep, once you get a module working, it's just going to continue to work. So you can just add on to it.
Yeah. So you're going to be letting it run tonight? Looks like a pretty dull night right now.
I probably will. I'm not sure. Like I said, it's running right now.
Maybe I'll put it on. You okay for me? Put it on the main screen. Going into the evening.
If you'd like.
I mean, it's up to you, really.
I don't have a problem with that. I think we probably ought to cut off this and I'm going to post it in the forum. It might not be in there right away, but.
No, definitely. We're going to clean this audio up here. We'll stop the show. Actually, we'll stop this portion of the show.
Right.
And then
that's on my end, so
that's on your end.
Anyways, thanks for having me on. I think we covered a lot of good ground and got some more familiarity. Yes,
I'm very happy with the progress on the. I'm very impressed too on your thought process. I like I like it a lot. So.
I mean, I was looking when I did a backup of my platform, and I have over 2,300 analysis and strategies saving now when I do my backup set. 2,300.
Yeah.
Now, the TradeStation sends you a number of them right off the bat, 300 or 400 when you get your platform, so they're not all mine. But, I've tried a lot of different combinations of stuff, and in a way, this is kind of a culmination of that experience.
All right, well, let's...
Getting a nice few thank yous in the room. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Let's see who's out there here. Investor. Harpoon Rex. Beauty Bubble, of course. Canuck Trader. Good to see you, Canuck. Lear Jet, always great to see you, Lear. All right. I'm going to throw some music on the other side and actually go over some of these stocks. I've been doing some research. All right. Well,
excellent. I'm broadcasting now, so let me cut off and you can take back over.
All right.
And like I said, I'll be out in the morning but I'll be in later in the afternoon. And trade
Okay.
well, folks, and stay safe and all that.
All right. And one last thing.
Yeah.
Go up to the top of your screen there. Show people who are members how they would do it. First of all, you have to go up to your login section, and that's how you would actually sign up for the GasBot channel. If you want to show them that.
Well, I guess
I can do that when I get on.
you know what? Let me show it real quick. There's a Q&A, what we call the cheat sheet for the bot.
Yes. Beautifully done. I love that. Brian took all the great credit for that one.
I know you wrote 85% of it. But in any event, it's benefits at DayTraderRockStar.com, and it's the GasBot cheat sheet. And that's really, it kind of, if you're not familiar with it, and then it also outlines how to sign up for it. And then in the forum, there's literally hours and hours of me droning on about automated trading and, orientation screens. And I was kidding about droning, but in any event, there's good, valuable stuff in there for those that aren't sure what they're looking at. There you go. There you have it.
Thanks, Jim.
You're welcome,
We'll
buddy.
see you on the other side. Have a good day at work tomorrow.
Thanks.
All right. Take care.